Alright, let's keep moving through these endocrine glands, guys. Next up is the thymus. This gland plays a big role in our lymphatic system, secreting thymosin and thymopoietin, which stimulate the growth of T cells. We'll dive more into what that means when we get into our lessons on immune system. But basically, the thymus helps us develop our immunity. The thymus can be found behind the sternum, and when we're little kids, it's actually a pretty big organ. It's working really hard to grow that brand new immune system. But as we age, it slowly starts to shrink, and by the time we're old, it's mostly just fat cells. Next up on our tour of the endocrine system is the adrenal gland. Your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys and have an inner portion called the medulla and an outer portion called the cortex. The medulla is where we'll find catecholamines like epinephrine or norepinephrine. This is the stuff that keeps the sympathetic system running longer than the nervous system can. Epinephrine from the adrenals has the exact same effect as the sympathetic nervous system. It increases heart rate, pushes blood to muscles, decreases digestion, and causes the fat cells, called glycogen, to break down to glucose. And this provides fuel for the body. The adrenal cortex is where the body gets its steroids. There are 3 kinds of steroids produced by the adrenal cortex. We've got mineral corticoids, the main one being aldosterone, which causes the body to increase the amount of sodium that it has by holding on to it. It usually does that through the kidneys. It does this in an effort to increase your blood pressure by holding on to more fluid, or to decrease the amount of potassium that we have. A great example of a glucocorticoid would be cortisol, which is released when we get stressed physically or emotionally. In the short term, it's great. It's an anti-inflammatory. It causes the breakdown of fats and proteins to glucose and fatty acids so that the body can use it as fuel. All great things when our body's stressed and working really hard. The problem is when we're in that stress state for a long time, cortisol actually acts as an immunosuppressant, so it makes us more prone to illnesses. The next one is our pancreas. And speaking from a paramedic perspective, this guy causes us a lot of grief. The pancreas is responsible for regulating blood sugar levels in our body through the release of glucagon and insulin. These are released from alpha and beta cells inside the pancreas. Glucagon works by causing glycogen, which is a type of fat stored in a few different places in the body, mainly the liver, to break down into sugar. And it's great when there's not a lot of sugar left in the body, maybe between meals. Insulin is a non-steroid hormone that binds to the outside of cell membranes and allows the sugar in the blood to get into the cells. So the reason why this organ is so problematic for paramedics or really any healthcare professional is diabetes. Diabetes has 2 types. Type 1, where the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin, or type 2, where the cells of the body are becoming resistant to insulin, or the insulin produced isn't effective. Either way, diabetics often have difficulty managing their blood sugars, and when their sugars get too low, they can become unresponsive and require emergency care. Besides that, having diabetes increases your risk of having other medical conditions, like a heart attack and stroke. The last endocrine organs are our sex organs, the female ovaries and male testes, together called the gonads. Their primary function is to develop sperm in males and eggs in females, and to promote the transition into puberty as we grow up. Testes release testosterone, and the ovaries release estrogen primarily. We'll do a deeper dive on these when we talk about the reproductive system.